So, Mirit, good morning
Good morning.
and welcome to the podcast, to the new episode. And we will talk today about animals in the spiritual world.
Yeah,
I am super excited and we are gonna have fun.
definitely.
Okay, so let's start. This podcast is available in my YouTube channel and we'll share the link. And my name is Diana. And I'm a channeler, a healer, and I love to work with my colleagues, channelers, healers to make this world a better place,
Definitely.
more conscious place. It's not about making it better.
Mm-hmm.
It's about making it more conscious because if you're more conscious, we are more aware, and with this awareness, we can create worlds.
Yeah.
So let me introduce you
Mm-hmm.
and we'll start and
Okay.
dive in.
Great.
So, Mirit, she's my colleague, Mirit Segev.
Mm-hmm.
She's a healer and channeler, and her expertise is animals.
Yeah.
Not only animals,
Yeah.
also humans, but her love about animals and all the animal kingdom, it's very inspiring. And we are here to share your knowledge, your wisdom
Mm-hmm.
about animals in the spiritual world. And let's start with maybe a little bit sharing your point of view
Mm-hmm.
about animals and spiritual world,
Mm-hmm.
and we take it from there.
Okay, great. So I'll just explain a little bit how I got into the animal world.
Yes.
I always liked animals, but they were never a big part of my life. And about 10 years ago, I had my first dog. And then suddenly something clicked and something opened, and I opened to a new world. And it started with a dog, and then it went into wildlife, animals in the sea, birds, everything just gave me this wow effect. So when I started my spiritual journey, which was also 10 years ago, more or less, and I did it mostly to humans, I suddenly understood I can do it even better or the same to animals. And I started to do energetic healings to animals, and it worked. And then I started to communicate with animals, and it worked. And, I could deliver messages and go further, and it was just amazing. And then I understood it was my mission in life, and that's what I need to do from here, from my soul. And this is what I'm trying to do. Wherever I go, I look around and I see animals. So that's really part of my life. And I think the most important thing is a lot of empathy to the animals, because I have the ability to feel their energy and to feel what they are messaging us and what they are telling us, and then to communicate it to people. Sometimes it's to the owners, sometimes it's just animals outside who need help. And it's really changing people's life a lot about that.
Yeah, it's amazing because like animals are like babies.
Yeah,
Babies, they cannot speak,
exactly.
and I know that all owners want to know what is going on inside animals' head, and um, how they can help them to make their life better as animals makes the life of the owners better.
Yeah.
So from my experience, like babies are mirroring to the parents the blind spots they cannot see within themselves or within the relationship if it's within the family. So the same thing, animals mirroring to the owners about things they need to look into their lives and be more conscious and more aware about the points of the development, points of healing,
Exactly.
And can you share your experience? Because we know that, like the people say that the dog are look like an owner.
Yeah.
And what is your thoughts about that?
Ooh, so I have a lot to say about that. I can share First of all, I can share from my experience. My dog, about a few months ago, she collapsed and she couldn't walk. She just froze. And we had this conversation. And I think people and owners don't really understand how much the reflection comes. Sometimes we need to be reminded. And you said to me, Mirit, you need to do a change. You need to change priorities. This is a reflection. And I said, hey, why didn't I see that on my dog? Because I always go to tell others. And then I did shifting in my spiritual world. I did a little bit of priorities. And my dog, without anything else, just started to change and recover. It was amazing. Slowly, slowly, she recovered. And it's all about energies, because we know energies is not only nature and human beings, it's also animals. So the energies changed with her as long as I developed and changed. And we need to take under consideration that owners don't usually take that as a reflection. Some of them know, but most of them don't know. So if the dog or cat or any other animal, parrot, is very anxious, so sometimes you need to think, wait, the dog is anxious. Why is he anxious? Well, are you anxious? Is he drooling? Because they are sponges. They get all the energies from the owners. So sometimes you need to think, wait, am I really anxious now? And all this energy goes to my dog who doesn't understand why the environment is really, really anxious. So that's why it's very important for people to understand that some of the dog's illness are their illness. Sometimes it's come from them. They have also all kind of sources from themselves, like childhood traumas. Also, they have it. They have traumas from past life. They have things. But also, you can differentiate and try to think, is it something that is connected to me? Is it something that I really need to take care of myself? And you can learn a lot from that about yourself. And you can help your dog and yourself a lot if you, with your dog, are having this journey together.
And this is amazing. So you're talking and the energy opens. So we are here to create like a spiritual conversation. And from my experience, if we are talking about soul level,
Yeah.
animal soul level, and human soul level. So basically, from my experience, the let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk on the soul level of animals and humans and the consciousness.
Yeah.
Because from my experience, the consciousness of animals are from different dimension than human dimension. So a lot of times cats can go between dimensions, and the cat was here and is not here. So cats can really go between dimensions and like disappear or appear out of nowhere. So this is something very unique for cats because of the unique consciousness and like the soul combination and the essence of cats, for example. Dogs, they have like different abilities. So cats are very, has like healing properties, and dogs has like different essence. So I was never like an animal owner. So I just, share the experience from looking at what's going on in the surroundings. So what do you know about that? About animals in different dimensions? Anything that opens will open the awareness, because most of people look at animals like pets, great.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe they're reflecting great, but they're also reflecting us, our abilities to be and move with our consciousness to different directions and have different abilities, because everything is mirroring, so animals mirroring as well. So this
Exactly.
is very interesting. If you if you can share with us like a essence, for example, cats and dogs and maybe different animals, it's very interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, first of all, cats are the most ones that are going to different dimensions. Um, I have a cat in my near my car that usually comes a lot, and suddenly she was missing for a month, and I didn't understand where she went. I did understand where she went. She went to another dimension. She had to do something over there, and then she came back. And in this time, I had time for myself, to think about why did she disappear? What did I have to do in my life regarding that? And animals they have ancient wisdom that coming with them. There are a lot of years here with us, and also they have past life, and they're moving, and they're choosing the souls like human beings, and choosing the journey they're gonna pick up. And it's very fascinating because I think also they are choosing the owners when they go in, and what they're gonna have in life. So for me, all the different dimensions are for opening our minds that there is much more out there, and there is much more we can explore. And it's all about the different energies, frequencies that we have. And, just to go a little bit in higher perspective with your animal, and not only take care of their natural needs, but to try to think a bit higher in the perspective and for yourself and for the animal itself. So just broaden your experience with the animal, because a lot of people just give them food, they drink, and we need to think that owners of animals, because we need to differentiate the wildlife to animals at home. Animals at home are very dependent on us. They cannot eat and open a fridge. They need to depend on us on food, on going out. We're very adjusting them to our needs. And sometimes it needs to be a circulation, a changes of energies between us and the animals, to respect them more, to understand more their needs, and to take from their wisdom back to us. So this is something that people needs to be more aware of regarding animals, to be more respectful for the animals themselves.
This is amazing because like animals are like children, they're like a development instrument for us, for humans. Like it's really a development tool. We can observe and we can understand a lot about us.
Yeah,
So let's talk about totem animals.
yeah.
Would you like to share what is totem animal and how in our world we can use this spiritual wisdom of totem animals for our advantage?
Yeah. So I know totem animals from shamanism, more or less, and it's spiritual guides that come and guides us, and they have this characteristic that we are really into them, and we're really located with them, and people just treat them as part of spiritual guidance in life. So a lot of people are really into that shamanism and totems of animals regarding that. So they're guiding us and they're giving us messages. And when you think about this animal, something inside you just opens up, and it takes you a path with you, and gives you some messages from above. At least for me, I get messages from above. My totem animal always changes. I used to have elephants in my life, and now it's a little bit of owls. So it's all the time changes. And definitely something with ancient wisdom that you take with you, but you need to take to not think about it too much with the characteristics of the animals, because people say, oh, snakes, they are decisive or anything like that. It's not like that. It's like snakes are very smart, and they're very flexible. So you need to think about the positive characteristic that they bring to you and how they empower you and not brings you down, from my perspective.
So the way I use totem animals, I just ask question, what can help me in my next step? Or what is my blind spot that does not allow me to really go faster or really receive what I want to create? And I start observing, or I open cards with totem animals. And then with the totem cards, you can just pick. And then you see, like you mentioned, you don't look a snake as a snake,
Yeah.
but you go and see the spiritual meaning of the snake. and you can read about totem animals characteristics, and then you understand maybe you're lacking like feminine energy,
Yeah.
maybe you're lacking flexibility, maybe you're lacking different aspects. So what I do, I use like totem animals, or I just look around and see that I see birds or different type of birds, or I go and I see pictures of animals. So I observe, and then I understand that my guides directed me to the animal wisdom, to take something, to understand something, in order to use this totem animal wisdom in my life.
Yeah.
And this is amazing, like this is amazing tool also to better understand our blind spots. This is how I can see the totem animals. Right. So amazing. So also, I wanted to ask you, can you help all animal conditions when people come to you with to receive healing for the animals? And when you're working with the animals, do you also explain to the owners that they need to do their own work, or how it works? If I'm the animal owner, and I want to understand if you can help me or not, or what to do. And can you share
Yeah.
about that?
Well, every animal is very, very different. Even every dog, every animal is very different, and the sources are very different from each animal. So, first of all, I get permission from the animal to communicate with it, because I do it in a few stages. There is a scanning of the animal to see if there's something physical. There is a mental side of it, that you look of the sources, and the communication. So 3 steps that I do. So when I get permission, because sometimes they say, I'm tired now, or communicate in an hour, or I don't want your presence, so I'm waiting until I find the right moment. And then when you're communicating, then you get a lot of information. I can give you an example of an animal, that a dog that an owner came to me and said, well, the dog is barking all night. He's barking all night. In the day, he's fine, but he's barking all night. And he's in the living room, and I don't know what to do. So, and he has a great bed, and everything is fine in the living room. So, I saw that physically is okay. There are no sources from the past, because sometimes we have trauma. I mean, dogs who are born in the outside and need to survive in the first 2 months are very different from dogs who are born at home, with things like that, or any animal who has something outside. And so I talked to the dog, and he said, well, listen, where I sleep, there is a clock ticking, and it drives me crazy, because I just hear the clock ticking and I can't sleep. So I went back to the owner and I told him, listen, there is a clock ticking somewhere and it drives your dogs crazy. Just move the bed to the hall or someplace where it's quieter. And he said, okay, I will. So he moved it, and then the dog stopped barked, and he slept well. So this is one case that you have. Another case is really a physical pain of the animal, that it's not connected to the people. And sometimes it's a reflection. Now, the owner needs to be open to that. Some I tell them, we need to do a double, healing for
Double
you and
date.
for the animal. Yeah, in order for the animal to get better. And some say, no, I'm fine, and you can't really. So you can help in an extent, but if people don't develop as well and don't do their parts, then it can't be till the end. And sometimes it's only the person, and then the animal heals. And sometimes the animal choose to, to stay in this condition and, don't interfere. I want to end this life, or I don't want to suffer, or whatever. So it's very, very different from each place. But usually there's a lot that the human being can do to make things better for the animal. And each case is very different in the way that I approach. I'm the channel. As you said before, they cannot talk. I mean, when you're doing a healing to a person, you tell them, oh, now I'm going to take care of your heart, of your chakras. We're going to do this. We're going to heal your soul, whatever. But when you're doing it with an animal and you talk to the owner, so you are the one that's channeling to the owner what is going on. So we are the voice of a lot of animals out there that needs help. If it's at home, if it's in the wildlife, everywhere. So we're their channel. So everything is really different, but there is a lot of healing that can be done.
So you're doing this remotely, meaning that you can help animals worldwide,
Yeah.
not only in Israel. So
I
so
did.
what
I
do you
did.
need? You need a name, you need a picture, you need just the owner name. What do you need in order to do the healing to the animal?
Yeah, if it's an animal at home, then usually a name and a picture is fine. Sometimes without a picture, sometimes just things that comes to my mind. It depends on the extent of the problem. If the problem is very minor, there's not a lot of things to do, then you just whatever pops in your mind, you're just going to tell them. And if it's something which is deeper, then you go in and then you need the name of the dog because you're going to communicate with him or any animal and the name of the owner. And for me, it's very important to know the whole picture if I'm going deep in. For example, how much time do you have it? Is it a year and he's 8 years old? Where has he been 7 years all the time, And did he have any other conditions before? When did it start? Was it a month ago or is it something he's born with? And it gives me a lot of indication where to start digging and what is the source of the problem. Because the main, for example, problem with dogs is anxiety when people go out. So that's a lot of people problems. And, the minute you're going to ask and you go digging inside, you're going to have different sources. It can be that because in childhood they were born outside, they needed to survive, then, staying in a place inside is really frightening for them. Or if it's something from past life that they had a trauma of being abandoned or something. So when people go out, then it's the abandoning, everything that's going to be abandoned. Or it's the way that the person goes out and, it doesn't really explain, because part of good communication with animals is open communication. I mean, a lot of people...
With humans as well.
I know. But with animals, we forget they are just there. Sometimes you sit and you have your dog with you, but you're not present with him. You're not present with a cat. You don't look at them. You just read a book, or you're with your phone, or you're watching TV, and there's a human creature over there near you, and we forget, because when we have conversation with people, we have the conversation, but we don't have conversation. A lot of people don't have conversation with their dog. They just give them their needs, and if they will explain things to them, they understand everything. So life can be much easier, because if you're going to tell them we're going out to the vet, it might be a little bit painful, but it's for your best. Or we're going for a vacation for 2 weeks, but we'll be back. Just explain things that happen to you every day, and just make them part of your world and not just sitting next to your world. It's very, very different in the way the energy in the house with a pet is.
It's very interesting. So is it your born ability to communicate with dogs, with animals, or this is something that you study? And the reason I'm asking, if I'm an animal owner, maybe I want to study and develop ability, or how it works. I mean, it will be really cool not only, to explain to the dog with words,
Yeah.
hey, I'm going to vacation and will be back,
Yeah.
but to communicate on the completely different level, mind to mind.
Yeah.
So this is completely different story.
Yeah. So I think everyone can communicate with animals. Everyone. I think we are all born, as we know, with communication skills. We are all, when we are born, communicating with people, and we all have telepathy, and it just goes down with the years as we have, with human beings and surroundings shutting us up. Also, we have it with animals. Now, because we don't have a lot of interaction with animals, it's less, out there. But the minute that you have animals in your life and suddenly you start to interact with them, things change. I think it depends a lot about the way you react to animals, because until I had my dog, the world wasn't open to me. So when my dog came, everything started to open, and then it was like a domino and everything started to open. But I think everyone can communicate, and if you have the willingness and you trust yourself and your ability that you can communicate, you can do that. I mean, it takes time, but it's a lot about self-trust. It's a lot about, believing what you're hearing, because you hear it over here, right? You're not talking to anyone. You just hear it over here. And then it's much easier when you trust yourself to communicate with the animal. I think everyone can. It's a very interesting question because a lot of people are not connected to animals. And I'm not sure if it's because they cannot be connected or because, the energy there is not enough. For example, people who hunt animals, for example, can they do the shift, do you think, transition to communicate with animals?
Yes, they hunt animals in order to receive adrenaline. They don't have enough adrenaline in life, and it's based on trauma, internal trauma, without the judgment, but the instinct of the human being is to survive. So if people are managed and their consciousness based on survival mode, only basic instincts, and search for the adrenaline, search for that thing, so they will hunt. But people who don't have this, traumas, and they can manage their adrenaline in more ecological ways. So it can be different.
Yeah.
So from my experience, if I'm like scanning people now, I take people, so you talk about people. So I scan now people who hunt animals. So I see that they, for example, love their dogs, but they still like hunt different types of animals. And there is not connected to the love to the animal they hunt. It's just they don't see it that way. They don't connect the awareness. It's very narrow. So they won't hunt their dogs that
Yeah.
in home with them, but they're not connecting the dog and I don't know the pig. They're I don't
Yeah.
know who they hunt there,
Yeah.
but for the animal they're hunting is the same animal energy. It's like your pet at home. They don't get it. So there are also people who have animals and they get cruel to the animals
Yeah.
because they're cruel with themselves and
Yeah.
they don't know what to do with this energy. They don't have tools how to handle this aggression within themselves. And like we know, animal, they cannot talk, they cannot speak, they observe. An animal, and there is a reason like why the animal chose this owner and owner chose this animal. It's like partners in life with
Yeah.
humans. There is
Exactly.
a reason that they're like couples, that one is a victim and another one is an aggressor, and they're just had this attraction. They thought that the attraction based, for example, how they look, but the attraction is not on that. It's go so much beyond and deeper than that, and the attraction is on inside traumas, triggers on that side. So the animals and the relationship humans have with animals, it's the same. So it's the same, but not many people understand. For example, I know a lot of cases when the dogs actually saved their owners because they were lost, they were with depression, they didn't know how to live, what to do, and very in the very sad place in their life. And then they took the dog, and they need to take care of someone else, and the focus shift, and they came back to life. I know cases, for example, like that of
Yeah.
animals. Only by being there, they healed
Exactly.
their owners, and there are also people in our lives. Only by being there, with their presence, they heal. So
Yeah.
the animals and the humans, it's if we will be conscious enough to see beyond, to see the reason this person in my life, the reason this animal was chosen, will be able to develop in completely different dimension and level.
Definitely. Definitely, I agree. And we always talk about healing animals, but a lot of them really heals us. And it's really, a two-way street. So it's really amazing how much they bring energy to us and how much they heal us and how much we can learn from them as well. It's just from opening your consciousness, opening your awareness, and just try to think differently and change something, and something in the energy automatically changes. So I think there is hope for everyone. If people will do a lot of work with themselves, they will change their respect to animal. They will respect them more, and I think it will be a much more very safe world for animals as well.
And the one thing that when I compare between people and animals, so I like to do the observation work and to observe and to find similarities and differences in energies. So the relationship with human and the relationship with our animals. So it's very interesting because in animals, they live their nature. Good, bad, this, that. This is their nature.
Yeah.
This is who they are. And the great thing is that their presence heals only but being what they are, being in their nature. There is so much energy in that. And people, most of them, they don't know their nature. They don't know what kind of type, what kind of animal, who they are, what is their nature. So they try different masks. And because of these masks, their nature is not reflected outside, and you cannot feel human energy. So the difference in the relationship between animals and humans is that it's great. It's great to see that how much energy there are in animals because they live their nature, and the majority of people, they wear masks and they don't know what their nature are, and if they know their nature, they're afraid to live their nature. And this was like at some point my aha moment. Then I'm like, whoa, this person is the potential. She's like a tiger, or she's like an, I don't know, a cat, or and she acts like she's a fish.
Yeah.
And something in the energy does not match
Yeah.
with the people. So with animals is so much what you see is what you get in the term of their nature. And the question that I ask myself, and I ask people, and I invite you to ask yourself, what will allow me to live my true nature, my unique nature, and then to write down what we think, what we feel does not allow us to live our nature. Because if I'm a tiger and I wear a mask of a fish, then the fish will be a magnet to me. And then at the beginning, while I still wear this mask, it will be great.
Yeah.
But then, because it's not your nature, this mask won't fit for long. And then you remove the mask and you see that you're a tiger and you live with a fish.
Yeah.
And it's like, why it's not connecting anymore?
Yeah.
Why? Because people who do the spiritual world, they connect, spiritual work on themselves, they connect to their true nature.
Yeah.
And then they go out there to the relationships that they built before, and they see they live with fishes and they don't belong here, and they feel that something wrong, and the people say, well, you changed, but it's not that they're changed. We are just connecting to our true nature that was covered by different masks. And animals and animal energy can be an example,
Definitely.
always, to remind us to live our nature, to be who we are. And this is amazing, because once we live our nature, the same type of animal will connect to us and will feel and will feel at home. And
Yeah.
this is the reason a lot of people, when they do a spiritual work, they meet their spiritual family, they meet their tribe, and then it feels at home.
Yeah.
It feels like people understand their language, without even explanation, because it's the same nature. And
Yeah.
then people, when you're living your truth, your nature, it's amazing. And animals, when I see animal, it's always a reminder to me, am I living my nature, or what kind of mask do I wear now in order to for people to love me, for people to accept me, for people to, so there will be harmony here.
Yeah.
So I wear different, we all do it naturally,
Yeah.
wear different masks. And then when I see animals like birds, or in the nature, or different types of bugs, or different types of butterflies, I mean, oh my God, they're all amazing. And the colors, and if the butterfly tried to be a cat, I mean, it's ridiculous. So this is like my understanding, comparing the animal world and the humans.
Yeah. And sometimes I ask people, what is your favorite animal from inside? What does you the because there is an animal. And then I ask them why. Because and you will be amazed. Not all of them are saying dogs. Some are saying really different animals. And I tell them, why a bird, for example? Why do you like birds? Because I love where they're flying and they're going from above. So this is your true self of freedom. And if you like a dog, why do you like the dog? Because it's cuddly and huggy, because you're a warm person and you want them. And do you love a cat or a monkey? So the characteristic they give to each animal is very different. Everyone can say a dog, but give different characteristics to think that they feel the natural soul of themselves. And then this is the first direction when you say, wow, I love this animal because, and then you go into it deeply, then you can start your journey to understand what is your true creature. And another thing which is important is that animals, they don't have judgment and criticism. So they accept you as you are. I mean, you can be, the worst day ever with your worst mood, and it will look at you like this, and everything is fine. And we need to learn from that, not to have judgment, not to have criticism, to accept ourselves as we are, to accept everyone else as they are. And this is a very good lesson to learn from animals, to look at them how they accept us and we accept them.
This is amazing. Yes, so for you, you're sharing that from animals to take the not to judge, and for
Yeah.
me, I'm taking from animals to be in my nature. This is amazing. And this is amazing and interesting for whatever is listening to this podcast, to ask themselves what they are taking from the animal world to their life, to remind them when they see the animal, what, to create like a program when they see the animal, just to, as a reminder to be more consciousness.
Yeah.
And this is amazing. When you talked right now, I'm recalling then, in the community in Damanhur in Italy, there is a spiritual community, amazing community with amazing wisdoms, multidimensional wisdoms. And people who live there in the community, they leave their human names behind,
Really?
born names behind, and they choose an animal name.
Amazing.
And then they try to understand why they chose this name. Then they need to talk with 150 people.
Wow.
And share this name and say, hey, listen, this is my name. I think I'm this bird, that bird, or this animal, that animal. And they explain to other people, but to themselves, why they connect so deeply with this nature of this animal. And then there is like committee that or approves this name, or they suggest different name to the person, and the person lives with this name. Two people cannot be, for example, a dog.
Really?
For
Wow.
example, can be dingo, which is wild
Yeah.
dog,
Yeah.
and one can be just a dog, that's fine. But you cannot have two people that are dogs.
Even if they're different species of dogs, and
I'm
you have Rottweilers and you have poodles, they are very different in
okay.
their
Yes,
way.
it can be. It can be. Yes, but you cannot be just a dog, because a
Okay.
dog can be a name as well, just a dog.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when they leave this nature of the animal long enough, they take another name, which is name of a plant from the plant world.
Wow, amazing.
And then it's the same procedure, and then they have like two names, the name of the animal and the name of the plant. And then when they live long enough in the community, they take a crystal name.
Wow.
Their third name is a crystal name. So they go and search and do a research on crystals, and they connect to the uniqueness of the crystal, the energy. And at the end, people who live in the community long enough, they have three names: name of the animal,
Wow.
name of the plant world, and name of the crystal. And this is amazing because they live their nature. Live their nature.
It's bringing Mother Nature into you. Everything. It's amazing.
This. I was amazed.
Wow.
The first time I visited Damanhur, I only understood the first part, that there is like everyone there, like animal names. Great, perfect. Why? I didn't understand,
Yeah.
but sounds like a great gimmick. And the second time I visited, I went deeper and I just asked questions. And I understood, whoa, there is a plant, and whoa, there is a crystal. And a lot of people do not have the plant and the crystal because they don't live there long enough.
Yeah.
But this is amazing. So I receive for the person who is my guide there in Damanhur as a human guide.
Yeah.
She sent me back to choose an animal name.
Wow.
And she mentioned that it's a bird, and this bird that need to fly, not
Wow.
only to walk on ground, because there are birds that live
Yeah.
in on the ground.
Definitely.
And it cannot be a black. It should be
Really?
colorful. So I received instructions, and I received a really homework to choose the animal name as a start. And I have 2 more visits in Damanhur, like this year. And
I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm
Yeah.
coming with you in
Yes.
July.
Of course, because
I need to
it's
explore.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
And so this is like living the nature and the connection to the, not only to the animal world, but also to the entire nature, to the plants, to the crystals. And I mean, I said to my guide in Damanhur that I'm connected more with the crystal world
Yeah.
than, for example, with the plant and the animal. Like you are saying, not everybody has this connection to the
Exactly.
animal world. So it's for me, it's like a work, an inner work, to understand what kind of animal I am, because I naturally, my connection to the crystals, to this world, it's easier for me it's like natural. It's not easier,
Yeah.
it's more natural
Yeah.
for me to understand crystals than, for example, to do other work.
Yeah.
But that's amazing.
But what's great about it is that it's not to choose between them. You have the crystal, you have the plant, and you have the animal. So it enriches all of your life in the all different aspects. So that's really great.
And
mean-
this is amazing. It's amazing that starting with an animal.
Animals. Animals are great. And my advice to people is, when you go down in the streets or with your dog out to take people, put your phone down. Put your phone down, raise your head, look around. It's amazing. I used to go with my phone and with my dog, because every day I go down with my dog. And then suddenly I stepped on a snail, and it broke my heart. For me to step on a snail, I said, I didn't see that. And then I got the message, put your phone down or else you're gonna step on snails all the time. So from that day moment, I'm just, walking around. I'm looking at trees, and you can see so many fascinating things around you. And, you don't have to be connected to nature, but you're gonna see things and explore, and the energy will come back to you. You're gonna see the birds outside. You're gonna see that cat, just sleeping, on the sidewalk. You're gonna see, even small ants. I see ants and how they work, and it's fascinating. And the bees are going around on butterflies, and even trees and plants. You look at this massive tree who has been there for 100 years, and you say, "Wow, this amazing thing has roots." So, the first connection to animal worlds, to nature, is to raise your head and go down and explore, see the details. Because the minute you're going to see the details, then your mind is expanding, and then your senses are expanding because you see, you hear, you smell, and you can see much more, and expand your senses. And that's the first step to get into the communication world with animals and everywhere, actually.
This is amazing because my first experience to be more conscious, more spiritual, is that I received like a homework from my teacher that time, that when I'm in nature, to be there with all my senses, to feel the weather, to feel the wind, to listen, to smell, to all the senses.
Yeah.
So with this, I went skiing, and I was amazed by the sounds, by the feeling, and I was like, the feeling was that I'm in my body, but I'm expanding so much beyond that, so that I'm in the body, and at the same time, I can be the snow. At the same time, I can be the wind. The same time, I can be much more. And the moment of presence and expanding the consciousness, you start to feel things that you cannot explain with your
Exactly.
logical mind.
Amazing.
And my logical mind working extra hours. But when I felt that, like at the same time, and you don't need, drugs to feel things. You don't need, different things. You just need to be present with all your senses. Even for a few seconds, it's
Yeah.
enough to want to feel this, that you can be so much more, and there is so much more. And then there is like a silence inside and stillness inside, and then you understand that there are no limits. You cannot
Exactly.
explain, but the only thing that you can feel is connecting to the nature with all your senses, just to feel the texture, and to listen, to hear, to smell, and everything at the same time. And then you're just expanding beyond the 3D reality, this living in only a perception of the human body, and
Yeah.
that's it. But you understand that your consciousness, you don't know anything about it, and it's
Yeah.
not logical. So this is amazing, amazing, amazing. And also, I'm talking and the energy just opens.
Yeah.
So recalling one of the courses I did, the spiritual courses, theta healing courses. And what we did is that we reached the consciousness to be able, with the consciousness, to go to any animal's body and to feel and see what this animal experiencing. So I chose a dolphin,
I
and
also once was a dolphin.
a dolphin,
Yeah.
yes, dolphin
Went
has
into.
the Lemurian wisdom. So
Yeah.
I was just experiencing not only like a dolphin, I experienced a very old dolphin who is going to die, and a very young dolphin that just started. Like, you can go with your consciousness to the dolphin's body and experience and feel and see and sense what the animals are experiencing. And this experience, which is beyond words and logic, it's expanding you because you understand how they communicate
Exactly.
on the completely different level, and what kind of technologies they have inside, and the feeling and the frequencies of the feelings, it's completely different than the humans.
Yeah.
This was not a joy, it was something that I never experienced. But when you connect with the animal and whatever they feel, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So I mean, using, it's like, for from one side, well, what does it help you to do this exercise, like practically? But it expands your consciousness so much that practically you became a different person, and this different person does not have boundaries.
Yeah.
Boundaries
Yeah.
that, I mean, you can actually, within your body, being in your body, be a dolphin for
Yeah,
a few seconds,
definitely.
for a few minutes. You can
Yeah.
experience so much more.
Yeah.
So there is no limitation. So basically, when you can do that, you can connect to anything and everyone on this planet and different planets. And this is like, at that time when I first experienced it, it blowed my mind. I mean,
Yeah.
it was wow effect. So, and there is like, I'm recalling that there is a movie that the little boy, with his consciousness went to be a bird, and
Yeah.
seeing,
Wow, that's amazing.
that's amazing. Yes, this amazing, and it's like a movie. But I'm saying that
Yeah.
all the movies, they just
Everything is possible.
show us our abilities, but we just don't know how to use that. So this is also amazing experience with the animal world that just broadens your consciousness to different levels.
I think we need to use more our imagination. We think imagination is imagination, but it's a lot reality. I mean, it's a lot of combination between them both. And I, a lot of time, was a dolphin. I went at the pack of wolves in Alaska. I was a bird, with
This
a
is
fleek.
different lives,
No,
or you go
here
with
I
your
just go here and I
consciousness.
go with my consciousness to other
Consciousness.
places, and it really helped me with communicating, because when I'm communicating with a dog, for example, I'll give an example. I go and I open my eyes as a dog, and then suddenly I see I'm very small, and when you look at the human being, he's really tall. So we're as human being, we go like this and we say, eat your food or whatever. But when you look from above and you see yourself saying that, it's terrifying, sometimes. So it's amazing how much you learn about our behavior from just, being inside the eyes of the animal, and, how everything is so big suddenly and terrifying. And you make things differently afterwards after you understand the world around you. I think it's very important.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we wrap up, do you have anything else that you want to share, that you want to leave our listeners with, if this is the time?
Yeah. So we talked a lot about tips and stuff like open communication, and about, being the animal, and, just open yourself in the senses and look around. Another thing I can say is manifest, okay? Because if you want the animal to have any kind of behavior, just manifest the good behavior you want to have with the animal. Put your imagination and just bring positive vibes to the manifestation and to the optimistic situation you want to have with the animals. Always look on the bright side, and not look, oh, he's gonna eat my sofa again. No, just think, wow, he's gonna sleep by my side, and when I come back, everything will be okay. Try to think more optimistic about things. Open yourself to nature, to Mother Nature, to animals. Everything can be curable. And everything can be worked on. If the animal choose not to, it's possible. But most of the problems or anything we have with animals can be cured, can be healed. There is a lot of work that I'm doing deeply with animals, and there are more, general healing. For example, I have with more a group of WhatsApp that we just sending healing to animals, on a regular basis. And it's very different from time to time. But just if you're open yourself and you open your awareness, there is no limits to anything. Everything is possible, and it's all energy.
Amazing. So you mentioned that you have like a group,
Yeah.
and you heal animals, and you
Yeah.
do one-on-one like
Yeah.
remote session.
Yeah.
Anything else that you do? So if in this area.
Yeah, so I'm doing remote sessions to animals all over the world, and people, of course, people also, and we have the group, and of course, deeper any problem that occurs to anyone, they just come to me, and we just sit with the animal. Or I don't need the animal, I can do it without it. So it's very easy. It's easier than human being because you don't need the conversation with the person. I just sit at home and just know how to fix or what to do, and usually it really is helpful. And everything that in my mission brings to a better world, and bring us to better compassion to what's around us, that's really good for my point of view.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. It was amazing.
Amazing.
I was really fascinated by everything, and I hope that people will take it further as well.
Cheers.
Cheers.